Good evening. Thanks for joining me this Saturday on 7 Edition. I'm Otto Othman and these are tonight's headlines. 100 ringgit cash aid for school students in January next year. Prime Minister launches Food Bank Malaysia program. And more than 20 killed in Nepal bus crash. Now we begin tonight's bulletin with the launch of the Food Bank Malaysia program, FBMP, held today. The government said it is confident that the program can help lighten the impact of the rising cost of living on the populace, especially for the B40 group. Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad said the FBMP could also reduce food wastage among Malaysians, a problem which has reached an alarming level. In his speech, read by Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng for the launching of the national level FBMP, the Premier said the B40 group must be given full attention to enable them to access cheaper food supply. This will boost their disposable income, which can be used for education and health. Tun Dr. Mahathir also said the food wastage issue is a global phenomenon and not new to the country. He pointed out the issue of surplus food was not a strange matter to Malaysia, as its people produced 15,000 tons of excess food a day, of which 3,000 tons were safe for consumption. According to the Prime Minister, almost 2 million people can benefit from the 3,000 tons of excess food if it can be distributed optimally. On this program, Tun Dr. Mahathir said it would channel the surplus food to target groups and registered welfare homes. The FBMP would also target 186,354 households which are below the poverty line nationwide to receive the surplus food. Meanwhile, the government will introduce a new law to regulate the FBMP to protect the recipients and donors. The Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Minister, Datuk Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail, said the special bill is currently being formulated. However, there are some concerns which include the halal issue, a sensitive matter in this country.
Ya, misalnya kalau pihak penyumbang itu adalah jenama antarabangsa yang terkenal. Kebimbangan mereka adalah kalau mereka beri sumbangan, niat mereka baik, tapi kalau ada sedikit kecacatan yang menyebabkan pengguna akhir itu ada masalah. Jadi penyumbang bimbang kalau mereka terdedah kepada tindakan undang-undang seumpamanya. Jadi kita harus meneliti aspek-aspek seperti itu. Malaysia.
Datuk Sri Saifuddin also said the bill is expected to be tabled in Parliament at the end of next year. The minister added the proposed law is similar to those of France, United States, the UK and Singapore, but had been fine-tuned to fit Malaysia. On FBMP, he said the program would be rolled out nationwide beginning next year, with central kitchens being located in major cities. In another development, Datuk Sri Saifuddin said his ministry is still looking into whether a cartel was involved in the recent spike in egg prices. He also said the Malaysia Competition Commission, MyCC, was still investigating the matter.
Ya, mereka sedang melakukan tugasan itu dan dari masa ke semasa mereka akan bagi laporan kepada saya sama ada wujud elemen kartel dalam perniagaan telur ayam ataupun wujud elemen pembahagian kawasan ataupun bentuk manipulasi lain. Yang itu di bawah jurisdiction MyCC, Suruhanjaya Persaingan, KPDNCP, dan mereka telah pun saya arah untuk melihat kemungkinan itu.
On December 10th, Datuk Sri Saifuddin said action can be taken if there was price fixing for unreasonable profits. He added that egg exports can also be limited to ensure an improved local supply. It was reported that there has been a trend of rising prices for chicken eggs from mid-November until early December. Following this, the ministry's enforcement operations had begun on December 7th to find out the causes of price increases at farms, distributors, and wholesalers. The Health Ministry, MOH, has confirmed that 21 chili samples in the market did not comply with the standards under the Food Act and food regulations relating to pesticide residues. Its Director General, Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah, said the Ministry's Food Safety and Quality Division had been monitoring imported chilies at the country's borders and local markets since January. A total of 3 chili samples, including those from Vietnam, have been analyzed, and the result found 4.2% did not comply with the requirements relating to pesticide residues. In a statement today, he also said the ministry is aware of reports that some chilies were imported illegally from Vietnam and have taken steps to suspend the import permit since September 14th. He stressed that the MOH, through the Food Safety and Quality Division, will continue to monitor vegetables sold in the country to ensure compliance with the Food Act. He added all imported foods were subjected to the law, and it was the responsibility of the related parties to ensure compliance with legislation. Previously, there were reports circulating alleging Malaysia as the center for dumping agricultural exports, especially red chilies, that failed to pass the standards in foreign countries. Year 1 to Form 5 students from households with income of 3,000 ringgit and below will be receiving preliminary school aid of 100 ringgit from the government. The Finance Ministry will be providing the special allocation of 328 million ringgit, which will be channeled through the Education Ministry to be distributed in schools beginning January next year. The announcement was made in a media statement issued by Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng earlier today. He said the financial aid was intended to help parents and guardians with their New Year expenses, adding that the government is committed to providing quality education opportunities for all students, regardless of their background. The 100 ringgit financial aid for students was first introduced in 2010 to help ease the financial burden of parents. Last year, the government allocated 328 million ringgit to enable the distribution of 100 ringgit to each of the 3.2 million Year 1 to Form 5 students who hail from families which earn 3,000 ringgit and below. The Dewan Rakyat has yet to receive notification or letters from members of parliament who have announced their resignation from their respective parties on whether they wish to become independents or to join other parties. The Dewan Rakyat Speaker, Datuk Muhammad Arif Muhammad Yusof, said he only came to find out about their move through the media.
Setakat ini kita tak menerima apa-apa dokumen surat bertulis, tak ada. Jadi saya baca surat khabar sehingga kami mendapat pengesahan bertulis. Susahlah nak memberikan komen siapa duduk di mana.
On December 14th, 6 UMNO MPs announced that they had quit the party. They are Larut MP, Datuk Seri Hamzah Zainuddin, Hulu Terengganu MP, Datuk Rosul Wahid, Mersing MP, Datuk Abdul Latif Ahmad, Tasik Gelugo MP, Datuk Syabuddin Yahya, Sabak Bernam MP, Datuk Muhammad Fasiah Muhammad Fakih, and Tanah Merah MP, Datuk Seri Iqmal Hisham Abdul Aziz. Datuk Muhammad Arif was met after officiating the Outreach Program, an exhibition of parliamentary democracy organised by Batu Pahat Parliamentary Constituency in Johor earlier today. This is the first time such program is being conducted to reach out to the people in helping them better to understand the functions of the parliamentary institution. In other news, there was high drama when a gondola carrying 2 high-rise cleaners at a hotel building in Persiaran KLCC suffered a technical glitch today. In the incident at about 10:30 a.m., one of the victims was left hanging precariously in his harness on the 33rd floor of the hotel, while the other was trapped in the gondola on the 1st floor. The Kuala Lumpur Fire and Rescue Department Operations Centre said in a statement, 13 personnel from the Jalan Tun Razak and Jalan Hang Tuah Fire and Rescue stations were deployed to the scene after they received a distress call at 10:57 a.m. It also said the fire brigade team used the ascending technique to conduct the rescue operation, where rescuers lifted the first victim to the 34th floor through an access space. The second victim was then rescued using an aerial ladder platform. The operation to rescue both Nepali men in their 30s ended at 11:49 a.m. Meanwhile, a farmer was killed after the car he was traveling in plunged into a 20-meter deep ravine near Kampung Bilangau, Pitas, some 180 kilometers from Kota Kinabalu, Sabah, yesterday. 34-year-old Jalmin Atang was driving from Kampung Bilangau when he lost control of the vehicle and went off the road. The car ended up in a small pond in the ravine. According to the State Fire and Rescue Department, the victim and his vehicle were retrieved from the pond by a team of rescuers after the department was alerted at about 8:31 this morning. The victim's body was then taken to a nearby hospital for post-mortem. The name of Muhammad Adib Muhammad Qasim, the firefighter who died from injuries sustained in the riots at the Sri Mahamariamman Temple on November 27th, was today honored in the Fire and Rescue Department Monument of Fallen Heroes, located at the Central Region Fire and Rescue Academy in Kuala Kubu Baru. The Academy's Commandant Muhammad Ali Ismail said Muhammad Adib's name was placed at the monument in a Red Hero Appreciation Ceremony to commemorate the service and sacrifice of the late fireman to the country. He added that Muhammad Adib was a symbol of sacrifice and struggle of every fireman. The idea of the monument was inspired by JBPM Director General Dato' Muhammad Hamdan Wahid and was built by science and firefighting diploma students before it was officiated by Dato' Muhammad Hamdan in September. 23 firefighters who died in the course of duty throughout the country, recorded since 1993, had their names immortalized at this monument. 74 female foreign nationals were arrested by the D7 Division from the Kuala Lumpur Contingent Police Headquarters earlier this morning. This after they were seen luring for customers at entertainment outlets along Jalan P. Ramlee in the city. During the 12:30 a.m. raid, many of the women were entertaining their customers and went helter-skelter when they realized the police's presence, with some even attempting to hide. The past midnight operation was carried out by 5 police officers and 23 personnel, led by Deputy Superintendent Rohaza Alwi. Among the 74 women arrested by police were 4 nationals from Vietnam, Ukraine, Turkey, Kyrgyzstan, the Philippines and Uzbekistan. Also detained were a local man and a Bangladeshi believed to be a bouncer and caretaker at one of the premises. Police believed the women lured customers who were willing to pay them 100 ringgit just for company, with additional charges for sex service. A total of 60 customers were also checked by police and released once documentation and screening were done. Some were arrested for failing to provide any travel documents. All those detained were brought to the Dang Wangi Police Headquarters for further action. Tabung Haji's Chief Operating Officer, Dato' Adi Azwan Abdul Ghani, who was remanded for 4 days to assist a probe into alleged corruption in the form of house renovation costing 400,000 ringgit, was released today as the remand period expired. Magistrate Shah Wira Abdul Halim granted an application by the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission (MACC) to release the 48-year-old suspect on 10,000 ringgit bail with one surety and was ordered to surrender his passport. The suspect arrived at the court at about 10 a.m. and was seen leaving about 40 minutes later. According to a source at MACC, the suspect had allegedly received gratification in the form of house renovation costing 400,000 ringgit in return for awarding a contractor a project to carry out the rebranding of TH branch offices costing 15 million ringgit. The suspect was called up by MACC on December 18th and was arrested at 8:35 p.m. on Tuesday. TH had, on November 30th, lodged a police report over the misuse of TH's monies and for misrepresentation in a corporate deal. The report was lodged against former TH chairman Dato' Sri Abdul Aziz Abdul Rahim, as well as several senior management officers. When we return, man's road rage stir up anger among netizens. The details next.
Taiwan semakin mesra Muslim. Tak lama lagi anda pun akan Salam Taiwan.
Best gila sebab I tak pernah fish in the ocean tau.
Welcome back. Now it's time for our daily segment Clickbait, where we take a look at what's trending and making rounds in the cyber world today. Now, many would agree that a lot of road accidents involving motorcyclists were caused by careless motorists. However, this was not the case, as seen in a recent viral video that garnered over 20,000 views as of today, which showed a motorcyclist going ballistic after he nearly got hit by a car during heavy traffic in Kuala Lumpur. Here's the story. In the 45-second dashboard camera video, the motorcyclist, with his pregnant wife riding pillion, was seen trying to squeeze in between the tight space between two cars just as both vehicles started to move. At that moment, his motorcycle almost got hit by one of the cars. Despite the driver apologizing profusely, the rider became enraged and got off his bike while shouting at the road user. Although the driver kept his cool and tried his best to calm down the motorcyclist, he continued to yell at him until the video ended. Despite not knowing what transpired next, the short video, which was posted by Twitter user Shahrim Tamrin yesterday, has sparked outrage among netizens who criticized the motorcyclist over his road rage. Some also advised him, instead of lashing out on others, he should have been more mindful while navigating during peak traffic with his pregnant wife riding pillion. So to all road users, please be more careful as well as courteous, and don't let a minor incident escalate further because of your temper. Now, updated as of 7 p.m, here are the top trending topics and searches on the internet today. A new mechanism for repayment of National Higher Education Fund PTPTN loans is expected to take 6 months to be prepared before it can be presented to the Cabinet for approval. Its chairman, Wan Saiful Wanjan, said the Education Fund was actively holding meetings with various parties, including community leaders and NGOs, to obtain relevant information and input before the draft was tabled. Now, this was necessary to avoid the implementation of the new method from creating a polemic, as well as being fair and taking into account the welfare of borrowers. Wan Saiful assured that the views and suggestions from the stakeholders would be considered and analyzed to find the best mode for repayment. He also admitted that PTPTN was in a rush previously, as it had to send the suggestions on improvements for the repayment scheme within 100 days to chase the promise made in the Pakatan Harapan Manifesto. And due to the time constraints and shortcomings in the repayment scheme that was to be implemented on December 5th, it was postponed by the government following protests from the people. Moving on, the government's allocation of 164.78 million ringgit to benefit some 274,639 rubber smallholders registered with the Rubber Industry Smallholders Development Authority (RISDA) is proof of Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad's concern over the welfare of the target group. Economic Affairs Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Azmin Ali said the Prime Minister is deeply concerned with the difficulties facing rubber tappers and smallholders in the wake of the monsoon season, which will affect their income. In a statement issued today, Datuk Seri Muhammad Azmin explained that although the government is facing financial constraint, the Premier insists that the agenda to safeguard the interests of the low-income group, particularly rubber tappers and smallholders, must be prioritized by the relevant ministries. As such, the minister said his ministry is determined to uphold this and thereby promoting inclusive economic development. The recipients comprise 255,997 smallholders owning less than 2.5 hectares of land under rubber and 18,642 rubber tappers working for landowners. As announced by Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng yesterday, they will be paid 600 ringgit in 2 stages, 300 ringgit at the end of the year and another 300 ringgit early next year. The potential to save money while consciously saving the environment has led to the use of solar power steadily gaining traction in the country, with demands for clean energy currently on the rise. To cater to the demand, 3 solar power plants are expected to start operations in Pahang early next year. One such solar power plant, developed by a subsidiary company of University Technology Mara UITM in Gambang, will operate in the first quarter of 2019. It has the capacity to generate 50 kilowatts of energy, while 2 other solar power plants are being developed by Tenaga Nasional Berhad TNB in Pekan and Gebeng, each with the capacity to generate 49 kilowatts and 30 kilowatts of energy respectively. Currently, some 230 homes, 83 commercial buildings and 39 factories are using solar energy. TNB said it is confident that the target to increase the use of solar energy in the country can be achieved by 2025.
Kita dapati penggunaan tenaga yang boleh diperbarui ini sebanyak kurang daripada 2% ini adalah kecil. Memandangkan kita mempunyai potensi tenaga suria yang amat menggalakkan di Malaysia ini. Yang Amat Menteri telah mengumumkan bahawa target kita, target penggunaan tenaga yang boleh diperbarui ini dinaikkan sebanyak kepada 20% di tahun 2025.
To achieve this, TNB will continue to work with state governments and the private sector to develop and expand the usage of green technology. This includes organizing seminars for users to help them understand better government policies and packages offered by the utility company.
Bagi pengguna-pengguna individu ini, isu yang kita hadapi ialah saiz yang perlu dipasang hanyalah kecil, dalam mungkin di antara 2 sehingga 4 kilowatt sahaja. Okey. Dan juga pengguna-pengguna pada lazimnya tidak ada di rumah pada waktu siang hari di mana terdapat tenaga suria. Jadi ini akan menjadikan ekspor lebihan tenaga kepada TNB.
It was also hoped that TNB's efforts would also pique the interest of companies and corporations to work together to develop renewable energy facilities that can be utilized by the masses.